Hi, welcome again for this for our monthly live here on Globalfy's YouTube channel, where we share knowledge and information regarding starting, managing, and doing business in the US. So today we're gonna cover different topics. This is gonna be a different webinar. The goal here is to do questions and answers. So you can ask anything you want, and I'm gonna answer all questions regarding starting, managing, and growing your company in the US. For those that doesn't know, my name is Sampaio. I'm co-founder and CEO here at Globalfy. And Globalfy is a company that since 2015 has helped over 10,000 entrepreneurs from over 100 different countries to register their company in the US and to keep them in good standing. So we provide the business formation service, accounting, tax, virtual address, mail-room, register agent, and a bunch of other services and information regarding managing your company in the US if you are not a US resident. So we are focused on serving customers from all Latin America and Europe in the process of expanding into the US. I have like around 35 questions that were submitted before our call, or live, I'm sorry, but you can also submit your questions here directly on the YouTube chat. And if you're watching this video after we finish the live, you can get in touch with our team directly with the links here on the description of the video, or also the link that our team will leave here directly on our chat. So for the next 30 minutes, I'll be covering all subjects related to start and managing a company in the US. So let me start here with questions that were submitted to our team previous for these live classes. Let's start with here one from Lucas Evans. How can I open a US bank account remotely? Perfect, Lucas. I guess you're talking about a business bank account, right? Not a personal bank account. For a personal bank account, you have a bunch of options from Europe like Revolut. From Latin America, you have Nubank and other fintechs that allows you to have a personal bank account in the US, even if you're not a resident. If we're talking about business, the first thing, of course, is to have your company in the US. It can be an LLC or a C corporation, but you have to have your company in the US and keep it in a good standing. This means that it has to be active with the state of registration. If you are a Globalfy client, directly to our platform, so if you log into your account at Globalfy, you have on the menu an option called Bank Account, where you can click and you can apply for a Mercury or Lily account directly from our platform, as we are their partners and we have a direct connection with them. So this means that once you have your company and the company is active, you can apply for fintechs such as Mercury, Lily, Relay, or Brex to get your bank account in the US. You're gonna mostly need your company's documents and also the passport for all owners of the company and a utility bill that can be from your home country. So let's say if you establish here in UK, you're gonna need a utility bill from UK, but you're gonna be able to apply for a bank account in the US through one of those fintechs, and they are our partners, so we can do that directly from our platform. I have another one here from Victoria. So what happens if I miss a tax filing deadline in the US? So Victoria, you're gonna have to spend some money. It's true. If you don't file your tax returns on date, or if you don't file your annual report or a franchise tax with the state of registration on time, you're gonna be most likely fined. So this means that you're gonna have to pay some extra money to IRS or to the state to bring your company to a good standing. So it's really, really important that you follow the deadlines and that you have someone that is helping you through that process. So at Globalfy, we have our compliance calendar that is, again, inside our platform, that you can see all the requirements for your company in the US for the next 12 months. If you have one of our essential or scale plans, you also have our support to do that directly for you. So we're gonna make sure that you understand that you have a due date and how you're gonna fulfill that due date, and we're gonna help you towards that goal. Some fines may be like as low as $100, others may be as high or even more expensive than $25. So if you miss the deadline for a 5472 form from the IRS, the fine is $25,000. So it's really important that you understand your responsibilities once you establish a company in the US. Here in our YouTube channel, we have a lot of videos that explain you exactly what you need to know about setting up your company in the US. And you also have a lot of articles in our blog at globalfy.com where we tell more about the requirements, IRS deadlines, state deadlines, and so on. I have here another question from Chick Diallo. I believe he's from France. He mentioned here, I prefer French, but, well, while hoping for a smooth entry in the U.S. marketplace, no, he's from Africa. I'm sorry. I thought it was French because of France, but no, it's from Africa. So while hoping for a smooth entry in the U.S. marketplace as a foreign West African entrepreneur, do the employees hiring part, if necessary, be integrated to your service? I believe that he's asking about help to hire. Let's say let's consider he's looking to sell on a marketplace like Amazon, for example. It doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you are under a country that is accepted by Amazon. So the majority of the countries, you can establish and register your American company in the marketplace, such Amazon, to sell your products there. In case you need to hire some sort of services in the US, like a fulfillment center, we have a lot of options to refer you, but you also have the referrals directly from Amazon. So the process of hiring services, as he mentioned here, or even employees in the US, you can do all of that remotely, okay? So it's a pretty simple process. Globalfy can definitely help you on that. Gabriel Torres, how do I avoid double taxation between the US and my home country? Perfect. So Gabriel, look, you got to understand that in the US, you most likely have to do some sort of tax return in your home country. So let's say, Gabriel, you're from Spain or you're from Portugal. You have to do your income tax return in your home country, right? But if you have operations in the US, you may also have to comply with some guidelines in the US. Like I mentioned before, the 5472 form or 1140 NR or 1120 form with the IRS. So this means that what you're going to do, you're going to, first of all, do your tax return in the US. With the tax return, you're going to also report that in your home country, in the country that you have tax residency. What happens is that the majority of the countries, they have some sort of agreement, some sort of tax treaty between the countries, or they're going to have some reciprocal tax agreements. So this means that, for example, if you're based, let's say, in Spain here, in Spain, the US, they have an agreement. So you're not going to pay double tax. You're not going to pay, let's say, 37% in the US and another 40% in Spain. There's a way that you can pay, let's say, 15% in the US and 15% in your home country. Each country has a different way of working on those tax rates, but there's an agreement between most countries from Europe and from Latin America regarding taxes that will avoid you to pay double taxation. So if you're a Globalfy client, you can talk directly for accounting and tax team with everything related to the US tax. And you can also put your home country accounting or tax professional, the tax professional that's serving us, to talk with us, and then we can discuss about that matter. Carlos Rivera, how long does it take to set up a company in the US? So you have mostly two different timelines or processing times, I'm sorry. So the first one is going to be with the state of registration. So when you go with state like Wyoming, the process, it's usually online, take less than a business day. If we're talking about Florida, maybe about 7 business days. If you're talking about Delaware, with the expedited processing, around 2 to 3 weeks. So the state registration times takes usually from 1 to 3 weeks based on the state that you choose. After that, you have the time to process the EIN. That is like the federal tax registration number for your company in the US. That takes, right now, today is October 8th, that takes around 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so we're talking from 10 to 15 business days to be completed. So in total, to register a company in the US, you may take from 15 to, let's say, 30 or 40 days, depending on the time, on the state that you select, and also on the process times with the IRS. That tends to vary. So right now, IRS takes 2 to 3 weeks during tax season. So let's say in February, March, it may take from 4 to 5 weeks. So again, it's really important that you understand that once you have your company registered in the state, you can start doing some business in the US, but it's only after you have the EIN that you're going to be able to be up and running 100%. Okay? Emily Johnson, can I open a US company even if I do not live there? Yes, you can start a company in the US even if you are not a US citizen and if you don't live in the country. So the process of business formation is done 100% online. As I mentioned, it's going to take less than 30 days to be completed. And all you need is the name of the company. Globalfy will provide you with the register agent, will provide you with the address and mailroom service, and you're gonna also and then when you apply for a bank account, you're gonna need the passport for the owners of the company and also a utility bill from your home country. Okay, but the process can be done online. You're not gonna be required to have a visa to also do that. Lucas Martinez, can my US company sell directly on Shopify or Amazon? Yes, Lucas. I mean, a company in the US can sell on Shopify, can sell on Amazon, or can apply to sell in other marketplaces also. Different than happens in some countries, companies in the US, they're not limited to only one activity or to certain activities. When you register a company in the US, you can offer different services or sell different products under the same entity. And with that entity, so once you have your LLC or your corporation and your EIN, you're going to be able to open a Shopify account, open a Shopify payments account, and also apply to sell on Amazon Marketplace. Of course, each one of those companies, they have their own KYC, so their own way of verifying your information and assessing the risks for your application. But I mean, the approval rates right now are really high, and unless there's something wrong with our application or with your documents, in general, there's not going to be you're not going to have a hard time applying for one of those marketplaces. Okay. Agu, I have a question here from Agu. I want to know the required documents for starting a business and the type of business that are allowed. So again, look, this is a mix of all of the other answers that I answered, the other questions that I answered before. So in terms of documents, you're gonna need the passport for the owners and a utility bill from their home country. And this is gonna be actually used for the bank account, not for the business formation process. And then related to the type of business, so let's say if you talk about structure of business, so tax or legal structures, you're gonna have an LLC and also a corporation. An LLC, it's a pass-through entity, so the company itself pays zero tax, and then all the profits are distributed for the owners, the members of the company, and it's the owners there, and the owners are the ones that are going to be paying for the tax related to that U.S. business. On the other hand, a C corporation is a completely different tax person, a complete tax structure, a completely different tax structure from the owners and the shareholders, I'm sorry. And the C corporation will pay 21% in income tax, in federal income tax. And then if it has dividends, so profits distribution for the shareholders, then the shareholders will also pay up to 30% of personal tax. So LLC, there's no double taxation in the US. A corporation, you may have double taxation. So those are the most common tax and legal structures used by non-residents. Then if you talk about business areas, business activities, then, you can do what's called any and all lawful business. So any and all business that is legal, except if they require some sort of additional license. So let's say in a law firm or a CPA firm or a general construction company or what else? A real estate agent. So those are all professions and business areas that require additional license. Therefore, you can do that with only a company. Other than that, sell on Amazon, offer digital services, software development. The majority of the digital services and products you can sell, e-commerce the same way. So it's going to be more restricted if you are doing some sort of specific professional service. Other than that, that company can operate. Okay, let me go here to 2 questions I have here on the chat. So let's start from the bottom. Isn't it required for a company to have a physical address in the US to open a bank account? Amazing question. So look, most fintechs like Brex, Mercury, Lily, or Relay, they work with non-residents. Okay, so it's under their business plan. Work with companies in the US whose owners are non-residents. So therefore, what they're going to usually require in the application process is that they're going to ask you to inform them a US address that's going to be used mostly as a mailing address to send your debit cards or to send a legal mail or to send checks for that address. And they will also ask for your main place of business, even if the main place of business is outside the US, mostly in your home country, right? So let's say you live in Italy. You can use your Italian address as long as you can prove on a utility bill that is your home address, for example. So they allow you to do that. Other banks, like Bank of America, Chase, it's not something that they are allowed, okay? So when you look to start up, to apply for a bank account in the US, if you are not a resident, the best way is to look to those fintechs, such the ones that I mentioned here, that will allow you to do that even if you don't have like a personal home address in the US. Perfect. Let me go now to the other question. What is a basic accountant service for a company in Colorado? I believe that you actually asking about the requirements, right? Or the liabilities or obligations that you have with your company in Colorado, correct? Correct if I'm wrong, okay? But in general, in Colorado and the majority of other states in the US, you're gonna mostly have to do what's called an annual report or franchise tax. That is like an annual renewal for the company within the state. That's where you're gonna use. That's when you're gonna pay usually a fee around $100 up to $1,000, $800 in California, for example, for that renewal, and also update some common and simple information like the registered agent, the owners, the managers, the address, and so on. Other than that, you're gonna have like the federal requirements in terms of that's usually from the IRS. So on the IRS, you're gonna have to do your tax return or your reporting forms usually from January 15th up to April 15th. Okay, that's what we call here in the US as a tax season. So that's when you're gonna file your tax returns or reporting forms to the IRS. So those are the 2 most common requirements you're gonna have if you are providing services from abroad, okay? If you have a bakery, then we have a bakery that is located in Colorado, then you're gonna have more requirements. Also here on YouTube, there's a question from Luis Alash. So what happens if I miss a tax filing deadline in the US? It can start with a simple fine. I think that I answered that before, right? Or I already did all the 2 lives today, so I'm not sure. But again, it can start with a small fee if it's, let's say, around an annual report that can be $100 to bring your company to good standing again, or it can be up to $25,000 if you don't file a Form 5472 with the IRS. So it's really, really important that you pay attention to the deadlines. If you don't renew your company with the state, then your company will be dissolved and you're not able to do business anymore. You can't set up a bank account, you can't buy, you can't sell anymore. And then you have to do the restatement of the company, and that's where they're going to charge the fees. And with the IRS, if you do not file your tax return, they're going to fine you, and then you're going to have to pay extra money to comply with their requirements and then bring your company back to a good standing also with the IRS. Perfect. Let me go here now with Carolina Vegas. Does Globalfy offers support in Spanish and Portuguese? Carolina, yes, sim. We provide customer service in Portuguese. I'm actually a Portuguese speaker, but we have over 30 people in our team that speaks Portuguese as their native language. Same thing for Spanish. We have over 25 team members that are Spanish native speakers. They're going to be providing customer service also in Spanish. So I mean, everything that we do at Globalfy, we do that in 3 languages: Portuguese, Spanish, and English. So the accounting team, we have professionals that are native speakers in Portuguese, Spanish, and English, tax, customer success, and sales, and so on. Okay, so we will always try to provide the best customer service in one of those 3 languages. Ana Delgado, is having an accountant in the US mandatory? No, Ana, it's not mandatory. Different than happens in a lot of countries in Latin America and Europe. You don't have to have an accountant taking care of your company. But let's be honest, as entrepreneurs, I don't want to be doing my books, right? I don't want to be taking care of all the receipts and doing my accounting, or even worse, learning how to file file a tax return. So that's when companies like Globalfy comes in. That's helping those entrepreneurs to keep their companies in compliance with the IRS and other departments. So it happens that in the US, you don't have to have an accountant. You can do the books by yourself. Usually, companies that are starting, or let's say they have 1 sale a month, 3 invoices a month, they may be taking control of their company, they may be controlling their company, directly on Google Sheets or QuickBooks or Xero, for example, okay? If you are, but if you have more transactions, or if you need someone really qualified to take care of your books and your tax, then you may hire an accountant, a bookkeeper, like the service that Globalfy provides. We're going to take care of your daily routine in terms of doing the accounting classification, making sure that all your tax payments are up to date. And then when the fiscal year ends, so let's say usually December 31st, you're going to have your financials ready, so the profit and loss and the balance sheet, to be able to deliver that to a tax preparer that's going to take care of your tax filing. So that's also what Globalfy does, right? So our bookkeeping team hands you off to the tax team that will take care of your tax return. So again, although it's not mandatory that you have an accountant taking care of your company, if you have operation in the US, I would tell you that's most likely you will end up by hiring someone to do that for you. Perfect. Let me see what else. Guys, if you have questions, please put it here in the chat, or if you're watching this after we finish the live, get in touch with our team here to the comments or the WhatsApp that my team will leave here on the comments. It's always a pleasure to help you into that process. Daniel Fernandez, can I pay my suppliers or contractors directly from my US company? Daniel, we got a similar question on the Spanish webinar that we had like an hour ago regarding paying international international contractors. I'm sorry, international contractors from the US business. So once you have a company in the US, you may have suppliers everywhere in the world and also international contractors. Okay, so let's say if you are, let's go here, if you are e-commerce and you bring your products from China, or you bring your products from Portugal or from Colombia, your American company can import the products. Right now, there are the tariffs, right? They're going to have to pay. You're going to pay the tariffs. You're going to pay your suppliers through a wire transfer. It's going to be a simple process that you can do through any bank that is available in the US. In terms of services, so let's say international contractor. Let's say you have a marketing specialist that is providing service for you from Philippines or from Venezuela. You can also pay them as an international contractor. All those payments, they're going to be tax deductible. So this means that at the end of the year, when you get your profit and loss, you're gonna have all those lines with the expenses that you had, and suppliers and services providers or international contractors, I'm sorry, they're going to be 100% deductible. So the cost of the products that you sell and also the products of the service that you sold, they're going to be deductible. And then you're not going to pay income tax on that. You're going to pay always income tax in the net profit. So having an American company, a company in the US, may be a really good strategy when you have professionals or team members spread all over the world. The US tax system, it's really easy to navigate. I mean, let me fix that. No tax system in the world is easy to navigate, right? The American one is not as hard as other countries are. So navigate the American tax system, it tends to be easier than navigating other countries. And also the fact that in the US, you're gonna only pay tax on the net income, it's something that's really, really positive. And even more important, when you are a resident of a country with a higher tax rate, okay? So really, where taxes are a problem. So having that entity in the US will allow you to have access to all the American financial structure, and will also allow you to hire professionals, so international contractors, and also suppliers from all over the world. And you can do that 100% online. So it's usually a really, really good idea, okay? Sophia Brown, do I need a US address or can I use a virtual one? Sophia, I answered a question similar to that a few minutes ago. I mean, you can start with a virtual address, a mailroom service. Globalfy provides that, so you're going to have your real physical street address in Orlando. We're going to receive all your mail then, we're going to scan, and then the mail will be automatically shown to you into our platform. It's going to be available for you to download the higher resolution PDF or to deposit a check or ask us to send the document to your home address anywhere in the world, or you can even stop by and pick up your documents in our mailroom facility. If at any time you decide to have your own office space, you can also do that and just update the mail address or the physical address to that facility in the US. Let's go here with one final question related to here, Felipe Navarro. This is interesting. Are there any tax incentives for startups in the US? Felipe, that's a tricky question because, I mean, in the US, there's not that many tax incentives or even financial incentives like federal from the government itself. Like I know that in Europe, there's a lot of investment from the European Bank in terms of AI development, technology development, and so on. In the US, that's not something that happens that much. It doesn't mean that doesn't happen. It just means that it's not common, okay? On the other hand, there's a lot of private investors, right? Or venture capital or private equity investors that will help you towards financing some of your projects. So, and another thing is that this is something that I heard on South Summit Madrid last April or last May. If you're able to validate your product, your SaaS, in the US or globally, your valuation will go higher, right? Because now you prove that you can sell your service not only for a specific market, but on a global level. So having your company in the US may not be, you may not find a tax incentive, but number one, in the US, you will only pay tax on profits. So this means that if in the first years you're having a loss because you're investing a lot in development and you don't have revenue yet, you will also create a credit of tax that you can use for the future years once you start having a profit. So this is positive, right? The second thing is that having your company, your startup in the US will give you access to a lot of local VCs. So over 50% of the VCs in the world are based only out of the US. And a lot of VCs from Latin America and also from Europe, they also co-invest in company in the US. And again, also having that business in the US and selling globally will probably help you to hire your to bring your valuation higher. Okay, so I think that those 3 or 4 points that I brought here make sure for a lot of startups and tech companies from abroad that are looking to expand in the US. I would like to invite you guys here to access our website, globalfy.com, where we have a lot of articles on our blog, have the blog on your menu, about starting and managing your company in the US. It goes from difference between LLC and corporation, difference between the states, tax, and so on. And also here on our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel. There's a lot of free content. I mean, there are hundreds of videos here on your YouTube talking about, the formation of the company, sales strategy, growth strategy, venture capital, selling on Amazon, and so on. So take advantage of all that free content that you have to help you understand how the US can help your company and also how to take your operation to the next level, okay? Well, I had 35 minutes here to answer questions from our audience. Thank you very, very much for signing up. Thank you for submitting your questions in advance. Thank you for for those that posted their questions here directly on our chat inside YouTube. Our team just posted here the link to talk directly with our sales team. You can get in touch with us by WhatsApp, email, and phone. And as I said, we provide customer service in Portuguese and Spanish and English. Well, and just to finish it up and wrap it up, keep your eye on our YouTube channel because every month we have a webinar here where we bring different content for you. My name is Diego Sampaio, co-founder and CEO at Globalfy. It was a pleasure being here with you today. Hope to talk to you soon and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.